fans, this is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren, Daniel Dubois, Oleksandr Usyk. Of course, you know this is the month that it goes down, and let me counterpunch based on what Frank had to say. He said, quote, "Not only can Dubois KO Usyk, but Frank Warren says that he can outbox him too." He said, if Dubois catches him, he'll go. If he doesn't, I think he can outbox him. But he admits it's down to these two guys when that bell rings. The best will be the best. Those are the words of Frank Warren. And let me counterpunch. First of all, let me say this about Frank Warren. I can appreciate the loyalty. I can appreciate the patience. I can appreciate the admiration that Frank has for Daniel Dubois. Frank, he promoted and agreed to promote Daniel based on a sparring session that actually has full circled. Okay, the sparring session that I'm referring to, or sessions, was when Daniel Dubois supposedly knocked out AJ in sparring when he was just a young pup years ago, right? So off the strength of that, Frank has admitted that I signed Daniel Dubois for that reason. But guess what? His last fight was against Anthony Joshua, a guy that he supposedly, allegedly knocked out in sparring, but he knocked him out professionally now. So now none of that shit matters, does it? Right? So you could say that's a full circle, right? Okay. Just saying that. Great job for Frank, because most people like Bob Arum would probably see that Daniel Dubois quit in the Joe Joyce fight, and Bob would probably, forget the heavyweight bum. He's a dumb bastard from Britain. I don't want to talk about him. Fuck him, right? But Frank didn't do that, and it's paying off. However, him saying that he could outbox Oleksandr Usyk, Frank, you're tripping. I think you're believing in too much of something that's not there, because Daniel Dubois will not be able to outbox Oleksandr Usyk. And if he's able to outbox Oleksandr Usyk, I'm going to tell you guys something. If he's able to do that on the 19th of July, that meant that Usyk got old overnight, and that's not the Usyk that we are accustomed to. He's just too old, and we've seen it all at once and unravel all at once. So it's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to outbox Usyk. That's bullshit. Come on, let's stop that. Knockout is the only way. Pressure fighting, cutting off the ring, punches and bunches, Derek Chisora style. That's how it has to be done with him. And hopefully he can land one of those shots that he landed on AJ and put Usyk on Queer Street and then force the issue, because you know one thing about Daniel Dubois, he's a beautiful finisher. If he hurts you, Daniel can stop you, because the finishing qualities that he has is magnificent. I've always said that about Daniel Dubois. You look at the first 10, 11 fights that Daniel Dubois had, they've been the same way. He was working on that style of getting you out of there, because he knows he's hurt you, because he's done it so many times in first round, second round, damn near like he did with AJ. But he eventually got him out in the 5th round. Okay, so he has beautiful finishing qualities. But outboxing him, Frank, really? Come on, man. Come on. You know what I mean? And that could be a bad thing to make or to feed Daniel Dubois. Let me tell you why. You guys remember when AJ fought Usyk, and Tyson Fury planted this seed mentally in AJ and said, oh, you know what? AJ ain't a good boxer. So AJ thought, you know what? He think I'm a bad boxer. I'm going to outbox Usyk. Bad idea. So when anytime you think you can outbox a boxer, you're tripping. You got to fight a boxer. Don't play a boxer's game. If you do that, if he thinks that, if he feeds into anything that Frank just made that mistake to say, his ass is grass. I'm sorry. Because Usyk's going to outbox him, and then Usyk does more than just outbox you. He outboxes you, then he steps on the gas round after round. You know what I mean? He's an aggressive pure boxer, and that's really rare. And the Eastern Europe has produced a lot of those guys, the Lomachenkos, and you know what I mean, even the Volsniks, and those guys are aggressive when it comes to boxing. It's almost like hitting the fast forward button. And they, you know what I mean? It's just like, looking at a tape, fast forwarding. That's how they're fighting you, because they get that aggressive. So I don't think that's a good idea to even be speaking out of speaking it into existence, because that's the wrong thing you want to speak. It's having Daniel thinking he can outbox Oleksandr Usyk. Frank, you're tripping. I admire the patience and all that you've dealt with him, because he could have dropped Danny Dubois like a bad habit, but he didn't do that. But to say something that ain't true, Frank, stop. Please stop. That's not a good idea. You don't want people to believe that shit. You don't want Don. Yes, you can. You can, Daniel, outbox him, because he is a liar, and liars can't box. Don't do it, Frank, please. Pretty please, with sprinkles on top. Don't do that. Because that's not true, and that'll get Daniel's ass peppered, boxed, and beaten. Just like that light. Out just like that light. But you guys tell me what you think of Frank Warren stating that Daniel Dubois can knock him out or outbox Oleksandr Usyk. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!